Drop a like in the next 3.756 seconds, or you have bad luck for the next 3 years.
Alright, welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna be going over how to make a good HUD, because that's a lot of things that I see a lot of people wanting to know is how to make a good HUD in Call of Duty Mobile. Now this will not only work in Call of Duty Mobile, will also help in other mobile games like Fortnite Mobile, rest in peace Fortnite Mobile, and maybe even PUBG Mobile if they have a HUD layout tool. So, real quick, I'm gonna show you my HUD. This is what I have as my HUD. I guess I'll make everything bigger or brighter so you can see. Oops. Yeah, my HUD is a 5-finger HUD. I would do 6, but I don't know, I just don't like using 6. So this is what I have for my HUD. I do 3 fingers on the right, 2 fingers on the left. So I think I say if you guys are building your own HUD, I would highly suggest having your ADS button on one side and having your shoot button on the other. Doesn't matter which side. I just think that if they're on the same side, it's kind of weird. I personally think it's better if you have it on separate sides. Another thing I would say is use more than 2 fingers. If you guys are using 2 fingers, I highly recommend you guys try using 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even 8 fingers, just because it will give you better mobility. So if I'm using 2 fingers, then one finger would be here, moving the joystick. The other finger would be aiming, and then maybe shooting. That means I can't jump while shooting. I can't crouch. I can't slide. I can't drop shot. I can't do any of those things while shooting, which will reduce your skill. So having more fingers, even just 4, is still way better than just 2. I personally think 4 still isn't enough because, well, it's up to you really. I like using hold the ADS, which means after I let go of my ADS, it on ADSs. A lot of people like to use tap, so that's why they can use 4 fingers because they tap the ADS and they can mess around with their jump button. But I personally like using hold, which means that I have to use a separate finger to jump and slide and stuff when I'm ADSing. So this is what I have. You guys can feel free to copy down if you want. But yeah, I mean it's pretty simple. Just use I'd say 4 or more fingers. If you really can't get used to 4, try 3 and then move to 4. If you're on a phone, 3 might be your max. I don't know. I don't really play on phone, but if you're on iPad, I suggest 4, 5, 6, even 8 fingers. 8 fingers is basically each finger will have only 1, maybe 2 buttons. With my HUD layout, I use 5. My, my thumb is using the joystick. My pointer finger is aiming or is shooting and switching weapons and using operator skill, which all of these things, um, you don't really do them together. That's another thing. So I don't want one finger to be using ADS and shoot, which are two things that are very connected. Switching guns and shooting isn't, like a very connected thing. So it's fine having on the same finger, but I don't want ADS and shoot on the same finger. Yeah. Some things like jumping, I have them on the same finger, and proning, all 3 are on the same finger for me, and I have reload up here. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest having things like shoot and ADS on the same finger, just because even if you do have tapped ADS, it's still slower because you have to tap the ADS and then move to the button and shoot versus doing them at almost the same time. It's way faster, way simpler, and better. So I think you guys should start off with bigger buttons, and when you get more comfortable, you guys can either make the buttons smaller so you can see more of the screen, or do what I like to do is make them turn them down to just 10% opacity. You can do 40 and then make your way slowly down to 10%. But when you get comfortable, you don't really have to see your buttons, so it doesn't really matter how opaque they are. I would suggest things like the weapons, though. Stay more to like the 80 to 50, 50 to 100%, just so you can still see what guns you have, how much ammo you have. And yeah, the same thing goes for things like health. I keep it at 50, but I mean, anywhere like up to 75 is still good. And then things like the grenades and all those weapons can go up. Yeah, anything that you're not comfortable with, without looking at it, turn it up. because you still wanna be comfortable with the button and knowing where it is. So yeah, that is my HUD. I want to turn some of these things up. So yeah, next I'm gonna show you guys some settings that'll help you a lot. First thing, aim assist, always have it on. Next one is quick run for prone. I don't really know what this does that much, but I have had it on. I always will. Next is fixed R fire button, which means your right fire button is fixed, which I personally do like, which means basically your right fire button is a joystick, but when you press it and move that finger around like the joystick, it doesn't actually move your character around, which is or where it looks, which is actually really nice. Next is fixed virtual joystick display position. That is your movement joystick. I recommend having it off because if you misplace your finger, you could end up going a wrong direction. Next is release R fire button of shotgun to hip fire. That is, I believe, when your shotguns shoot when you release the gun button instead of just tapping it. I'm not 100% sure. I've never messed with this setting. I have it off. Next is fast throw grenade. I suggest having it off because you want to be able to aim your grenades. You don't want to throw it instantly. You want to be able to cook them. You want to be able to, aim, hold on to them, different things like that. So I recommend having it off. If you don't like, I don't know how to say this, but like if you don't use grenades for mobility, if you don't cook nades, you just throw them, then you can turn them on. Next is joystick auto sprint. I like to have it on as preference. Not everyone likes to sprint all the time. I usually sprint all the time, so I have it on. Um, but there's another setting later on where you can change that. Next is fixed joystick. I have it off. Same thing for fixed joystick virtual position. Next is right fire button for fixed perspective. Um, gonna be honest, not sure what that means. I think it's default to on, so I keep it on. So yeah, next is hide a prone button. I suggest turning it off. I think default it's on. It really depends on you how many fingers you play and how if you use a lot. If you use a lot, I suggest having the button here. That basically means you can directly prone instead of having to hold down the crouch button. You can just directly prone, which I think is a lot better than having to hold the crouch button or double tap the crouch button. Whatever you have to do with the crouch button, you can just hold a separate button and you'll drop shot. A lot better for drop shotting. Another thing I'm gonna go over is these fire modes. I have them all in hip fire. I know a lot of people have marksman rifles and sniper rifles, or I know a lot of people have marksman sniper rifles on ADS mode. I don't really use it. You guys can try it like that, but I personally have them all on hip fire. Going down here, ADS. I personally use tap and hold to ADS. A lot of people use tap to ADS. Yeah, double. I don't recommend double tap or hybrid. I think you guys should stick with tap to ADS or tap and hold ADS. Next is display left fire button. This just gives you another fire button. I just have it on. It doesn't really matter. I don't even use that button, but I just have it on. So it's up to you guys if you want to use it or not. Next is slide while running. I suggest tap crouch while sprinting to slide. You can do hold if you want, but I think tap is a lot easier. It's better for your movement. So yeah, it's kind of personal preference, but I would suggest tap to crouch on. Next up is always sprint. I have it on, but if you turn it off, you can adjust how sensitive it is. So if you're at the bottom, that means you'll pretty much never sprint. If you're at 50%, you have to move your joystick up a certain amount to sprint. The higher it is, the less you have to move it up. The lower it is, the more you have to move it up. That's basically how it works. I keep it always sprint. Up next is gyroscope. I don't see a use for gyroscope, so I turn it off. Basically, gyroscope is when you hold your iPad or your phone up, and when you move and when you turn your body to the right and your phone to the right, in game, you will look to the right, which I don't think you guys should really have on unless you guys don't like using fingers to aim. But if you guys are using fingers to aim, definitely turn off gyroscope because it can mess you up if you're moving around with your phone. And sometimes when you move, it'll mess up your aim. So I recommend having it off unless you actually use it to aim. And next is camera FV. This is the biggest thing I see people have a mistake. A lot of people have it just on 60 by default. That is not good. If you guys move it up to 75, you guys will see so much more peripheral vision around you. It will help you see more enemies, um, and just in general helps you see more things and it's a lot better. Next, BR mode. I don't really use BR that much, but here are all my settings. You guys want to look at it? I'm not going to talk about it too much because I don't play BR that much. So I'm just going to scroll down my settings. You guys can copy them all you want. Um, so yeah. Next is audio graphics. I have them set to high and high. Um, I say if you guys are struggling for FPS, put your graphic quality low and put your frame rate to the highest you can. If that still doesn't work, drop your frame rate down one. If that still doesn't work, you guys probably have to play low, low. But I personally play high and high. I mean, I can go to very high and turn on all these things, but it doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't really matter which one you guys choose. So it's just basically how well does your game look and how well will your game run. If you can run um, very high, go ahead and use it if you want. If you don't, but it will probably drain battery a lot more. So if you want to conserve more battery and make it more stable, put it down to like medium high. I normally just keep it at high. And for audio settings, it's a lot of just personal preference. This is what I have mine set at. I have everything 100, the music down to just 1. So yeah. The next one's voice over language. Just keep it on English. I think that's the only one you can really get, but you definitely want the voiceover on. That is for sure. Next is sensitivity. Sensitivity is a lot of preference, but I will go over these settings. Rotation mode, I have it on fixed speed, which means no matter how fast you move your finger, it will still go. Your sensitivity will always be the same. If you do something like speed acceleration, that means if you swipe your finger across the screen super fast, your character will move a lot more than you would if you just slowly move it. So if you move your character, or if you move your finger like an inch, like go side to side in like an inch, um, slowly versus super fast. Slowly, you'll go your normal sensitivity. If you go super fast, you'll end up going way faster than you normally do. So that's basically what it is. Distance is basically how far you move your finger, how fast it becomes. If you move your finger farther, it becomes faster. So yeah, I keep it on fixed. That's why I like it on. Sensitivity switch. This is basically at what point does your sensitivity switch from your ADS sensitivity to your normal sensitivity. I keep it on switch while opening ADS, but it's really just preference. Switch after ADS, gradually switch. It's really just preference. Although I would not suggest gradually switch because that means that your ADS will slowly over time while you're ADSing will change, which means sometimes your aim won't be the same because it'll be like a sensitivity in between your normal ones. So it might mess up your aim. I personally think the first two options are great. Next is sensitivity presets. I have mine custom. If you guys want to copy my sensitivities, here they are. I'll just go through them. Oh, tactical scope is high. It's normally 60. So here are my sensitivities. Go down here as well. I'm gonna drop that back to 10, 20, to 60. I was just testing out some stuff. And gyroscope sensitivity, it's if you guys use gyroscope, then feel free to mess around with it. I don't use it, so I have it on off. BR mode should be exactly the same, so yeah. Next is the BR settings. I don't play BR, but here are my settings. Oh, I didn't want me to press that. Yep, those are my BR settings. The comms and stuff. You guys can just pick whatever you want. I don't use these. Controller settings, I don't use controller, but you guys can always switch all these different settings. Here are the settings I have. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Here are the settings I have if you guys want to use them. I don't know if they're any good. So yeah, that is it for the settings and the best HUD you guys can do. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.